What if I told you that everything you thought you knew about Clash Royale is about to change forever? The latest update has just dropped 3 game-changing features that are sending shockwaves through the entire community. We're talking about Skeleton Army getting a complete evolution makeover, Royal Ghost receiving its first ever evolution, and perhaps most mind-blowing of all, the ability to actually clone your champion cards. Yes, you heard that right. After years of champions being these untouchable, unique powerhouses on the battlefield, Supercell has just introduced a mechanic that lets you duplicate them. The implications are staggering. We're looking at potential double Archer Queen setups, twin Golden Knights charging across the arena, and strategies that were literally impossible just days ago. This isn't just another balance update or a simple card tweak. This is a fundamental shift in how Clash Royale operates at its core, and honestly, I'm still trying to wrap my head around all the possibilities. If you're as excited about these changes as I am, make sure to smash that like button, drop your thoughts in the comments below, and subscribe for more Clash Royale content because we're going to dive deep into every single detail of this massive update. Let's start with the Skeleton Army Evolution, because this one has been a long time coming. For years, Skeleton Army has been this weird card that everyone loves, but struggles to use effectively. It's always been vulnerable to spells, easily countered by splash damage, and frankly, pretty predictable in most situations. But now, with its evolution, we're seeing a complete transformation of how this card functions on the battlefield. The evolved Skeleton Army doesn't just spawn more skeletons. It fundamentally changes their behavior and capabilities. These aren't your regular bone boys anymore. They're faster, they're more resilient, and they have this incredible ability to spread out automatically when they detect incoming splash damage. It's like they've developed artificial intelligence and can actually think about positioning. What makes this evolution truly special is how it addresses every single weakness that Skeleton Army has had since the game launched. Remember how frustrating it was to drop your Skeleton Army only to watch it get completely obliterated by a single zap or log? Those days are over. The evolved skeletons have this adaptive spreading mechanism that makes spell value significantly harder to achieve. They don't just clump together like mindless bones anymore. They actually position themselves strategically, and when they sense danger, they scatter in ways that maximize their survival chances. But here's where things get really interesting with the Royal Ghost Evolution. Royal Ghost has always been this unique card that walks the line between being incredibly powerful and somewhat underwhelming. Its invisibility mechanic is cool, but experienced players have always found ways to predict and counter its movements. The evolution changes everything about how Royal Ghost operates. We're not just talking about improved stats or slightly better invisibility duration. This evolution introduces a completely new mechanic that I honestly didn't see coming. The evolved Royal Ghost can now phase through units while invisible, meaning it can walk straight through enemy troops without being detected or stopped. This opens up offensive possibilities that were never available before. You can send your evolved Royal Ghost directly to the enemy tower, bypassing all defensive units entirely. But it gets even crazier because the evolution also grants the Royal Ghost the ability to become temporarily untargetable even when visible, creating these moments where your opponent knows exactly where the ghost is, but can't do anything about it. The strategic implications are enormous. Royal Ghost was already a card that required careful timing and positioning, but now it becomes this almost unstoppable force when used correctly. Defense against evolved Royal Ghost requires completely new approaches and counter strategies that the community is still figuring out. Traditional defensive placements that worked against regular Royal Ghost are completely useless against the evolved version. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, champion cloning. This feature has completely broken my understanding of how Clash Royale balance works. Champions were designed to be these unique, powerful cards that you could only have one of in your deck and only deploy one at a time. They were meant to be special, rare moments in battles where you unleash your ultimate weapon. The clone spell changing this dynamic is absolutely revolutionary and terrifying at the same time. When you clone a champion, you're not just getting a weaker copy like with regular troops. The cloned champion retains most of its abilities and stats, creating scenarios where you can have 2 archer queens shooting arrows simultaneously, or 2 golden knights charging from different lanes. The tactical possibilities are endless, but so are the potential balance nightmares. Think about how this changes deck building entirely. Champion choice was always this careful decision where you had to commit to one powerful unit that would define your win condition. Now, with cloning possibilities, you need to consider how your champion performs not just individually, but as part of a potential duo. Some champions benefit more from cloning than others, and this is already creating new tier lists and meta shifts that nobody predicted. The Archer-Queen clone interaction is particularly fascinating because her ability to turn invisible and deal massive damage becomes twice as threatening when there are 2 of them. Opponents can't track both simultaneously, and the damage output becomes overwhelming very quickly. Golden Knight cloning creates these incredible double charge scenarios where defending against one knight leaves you completely vulnerable to the second one approaching from a different angle. But perhaps the most game-changing aspect is how these 3 updates work together. You can now build decks that combine Evolved Skeleton Army for defense, Evolved Royal Ghost for sneaky offense, and Champion cloning for overwhelming pressure. The synergies between these new mechanics create strategic depth that Clash Royale has never seen before. The community reaction has been absolutely wild. Some players are calling this the best update in years, while others are worried that the game is becoming too complex and moving away from its simple, accessible roots. Professional players are scrambling to understand the new meta, and tournament organizers are trying to figure out how these changes will affect competitive play. What really excites me about this update is how it shows Supercell's willingness to take risks and fundamentally change core game mechanics. They could have played it safe with simple stat adjustments and minor tweaks, but instead they've introduced features that challenge everything we thought we knew about Clash Royale strategy. These changes represent more than just new content. They're a statement about the future direction of the game and a commitment to keeping Clash Royale fresh and exciting even after all these years. Whether you love these changes or feel overwhelmed by them, one thing is certain: Clash Royale will never be the same again. And honestly, I couldn't be more excited to see where this wild ride takes us next.